Hello guys. Welcome to Diablo the Primordial. This video is the continuation video after Rimuru in action. So if you have not watched it, then please watch it. The link is in the description. And please check out my second channel Top Anime Sensei for the light novel of Tensura. So without any further delay, let's start. But before we start, please like, subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss the updates. Your opponent has more than twice of yours. If you think of it that way, you're incredible, you know. I said so and comforted her. Apito also joined Kumara, both of them left to deal with the remnants of the angels. All that's left was for me to persuade Mai. I and Mai faced each other. Mai readied her bow and glared at me while breathing heavily. I see, she was a beautiful girl. Her aura was like Shuna's. She had beautiful black hair like a Japanese doll and a sharp facial expression. She retained her dignified appearance and posture even though fatigue should have accumulated. Her posture was of a lovely, beautiful girl. However, there were some points to be worried about. The veins on her limbs were bulging and torn apart here and there, making her bleed. Blood? It seems that she incarnated as an angel with a still living body. She probably fused with a seraph without reconstructing her body. It seems her body has begun to collapse as it can't withstand the energy. Ciel answered my question. There was a limit for a human's living flesh to accept the tremendous amount of energy of a spiritual life form such as demon and angel. Not to mention, if it was with the highest ranking angel seraphim, they couldn't endure it unless it was with an awakened and carefully trained body of God-man class. If this girl named Furuki Mai was able to control the seraphim's power while still in a living flesh, I couldn't help but say that she has tremendous willpower. Nice to meet you, I am Rimuru. I see, it's you. My name is Furuki Mai. I don't have any grudge against you, but I will have you die for Yuki-kun. Yuki is already gone, you know? He's not Yuki now, he should be calling himself Velda, though. Although her expression moved just for an instant to my question, Mai immediately regained her calmness. It doesn't matter, because I believe in Yuki-kun. If I defeat you, I can do my research in peace. I have to go back home no matter what it takes. I know that this is for my own egoism, but still, I have to defeat you. Saying so, Mai aimed her bow towards me without hesitation. She should have realized the collapse of her limbs, but Mai stared at me without breaking her concentration even once. She should have understood that she couldn't win, but panic couldn't be seen in her eyes. Remarkable, so I honestly thought. Mai was quite philosophical for her age. For one purpose, she threw away all of her hesitations. Perhaps, she just runs through the path she believes is her only option. Although I've heard about it once, why do you want to go back? Why, you ask? You ask something strange. Do you think I'm not worried about my family I left behind? Do you think we have to obediently obey orders even though we were summoned to this world without our permission? We're not treated as a human being and only are seen as a weapon. It won't hurt my heart even if such a world was destroyed. I want to return home, that's all. The other Otherworlders quickly abandoned their homesickness, but Mai kept on holding on to it all this time without giving up. If you think about it, that might be reasonable. I gave up on it because I died, but that wasn't the case for the summoned people. Shinji and his group seemed to have given up easily, but that didn't mean they had no regrets. If they could go back, they wanted to go back. There's probably a lot of people like that. However, such magic didn't exist and there was no precedent of it too. Because every one of them could easily understand such reality, they just promptly gave up. Mai didn't give up because of her strong willpower, and she never lost hope because of her skill. Therefore, I had no other choice but to inform her of the cruel truth. That's impossible for now. Even if someone can come from the other side to this side, a way to go from this side to the other side has not been found yet. I know that. While that may be true, I can't give up. Besides, Yuki-kun will surely find a way to go back. Therefore, I will not give up. Mai shouted and fired an arrow. However, it was futile. I erased the arrow and continued talking. Like I said, Yuki is gone. You know, Velda and Yuki are different people. Besides, I think the one who summoned you is probably Yuki too. Mai's movement stopped when she heard my words. And then, she shook her as if she didn't want to accept that. Shut up. I'll have to stop you from confusing me. Stardust rain. She flew up to the corner of my sight and fired her strongest technique while glaring at me. However, it was futile. Because any emission-type techniques wouldn't work on me after all. I sucked all of the arrows into imaginary space. Thus, that was the curtain call. It can't be. Mai dropped her bow in despair. At last, she noticed the overwhelming difference in strength between herself and me. Listen, I don't have any intention to kill you. Why is that? I was asked by Shinji and the others to save you. If they didn't, I wouldn't have bothered to go out because it's troublesome. Could it be? They were alive, Shinji-kun and the others. It seemed Mai received quite a shock when she heard my words. Well actually, if I could show the difference in strength like this, she could understand that my words weren't a lie. There was no need for me to come out, as it was true that Kumara was stronger than Mai. Besides, certainly that it's impossible to cross over between the worlds. But, you see, that's just for the time being. Huh? In the future, depending on the research, it might be possible to find a passage to another world, don't you think? Souls are circulating back and forth, aren't they? I think the possibility isn't zero, you know? Is that true? At least it will be more reliable than leaving it to Yuki. You can research it yourself, after all. When I stated so, Mai stared at me with eyes full of surprise. Did she also receive a shock because I told her that she should do the research herself instead of leaving it to others? Even so, I can't go back anymore. I accepted this power, I ended up accepting it. I believed in the small possibility that I can warp with the tremendous amount of energy. The result was a failure. My body is starting to collapse as it can't endure the angel's power. The only way left is to believe in Yuki-kun. Ah, she noticed it, didn't she? Evolving Traveler with the Seraphim's power she got and did a dimensional warp. That was probably Mai's aim. However, she failed to acquire the ability to warp between dimensions and was left with the only way, which was to believe in Yuki. Thus, she was someone who got deceived by Yuki from the start. That means. Let me ask this just in case, did Yuki say something like, "You may be able to go back, I think"? There's a possibility that your skill will evolve by fusing with an angel. However, the power is too strong and it might hurt you. So, I don't recommend it, but what will you do, to you? Also, don't tell me that you are fighting right now to return the favor to Yuki? So, I said what I thought directly. Mai's reaction was dramatic. She opened her eyes wide and just stared at me without saying anything. It seemed I hit the bullseye, as that was probably similar to what Yuki told her. Hey, as I expected, that's a swindler's modus operandi, you know. Offering an incredible offer and made the other party compliant to them, that was exactly an old trick used by a swindler. There was a catch behind the tempting offer, and they wouldn't encourage people to take the offer. It looked like they were giving options to the other party, but the other party actually only had one option to take. It was truly a shrewd trick. Now that you mention it. Well, I think those who got deceived are at fault. From now on, you'd better not just relying on someone but also properly try to confirm things with your own thinking. I unintentionally ended up reprimanding Mai. It had no persuasive power at all, since that came from me, who always leaves things to other people, but Mai didn't know me well, so she took my advice to heart. Mai courageously held back her tears and frustratingly bit her lip. I understand what you're saying. There seems to be no point for me to be hostile to you. Either way, there is no chance for me to win. You could say it as my last selfishness, but may I ask you to deal the final blow and put me at ease? Mai told me so and smiled fleetingly. She probably lost the willpower to live, as she had lost her hope. Like I said, search for the way to go back yourself. It's too early to give up, don't you think? But, I can't hold much longer. My body's collapse is. Ah, I forgot. I said that and embraced Mai's body. And then, I thoroughly ate the seraphim that had fused with Mai's body with soul consumption. Seraphim had already been analyzed, so the work was completed instantly. Unfortunately, I didn't recover as much energy as I imagined, but I deemed things acceptable as I got to analyze Traveler without Mai's permission. Something like unrestricted teleportation was an excellent super rare skill among unique skills. Even without my instruction, Ciel Sensei, the skill Mania won't be silent. How's the analysis? Completed successfully, acquired teleportation from Traveler. As expected of Ciel Sensei. Mai also noticed that I had eaten the angel. She lost the ability to fly and naturally held onto my arms. What happened? As such, Mai got flustered and her face turned red. Apito. Present. I called Apito and handed over Mai, who was in my embrace, to her. I don't think that the collapse of your body can be healed with potions, but if it's Shinji, he could heal it. You should ask him to get it healed. Mai was surprised and repeatedly opened and closed her mouth, but she looked at me as if she changed her mind. Moreover, for some reason, she had an expression that showed disappointment and unsatisfied. But she was determined on something. Thank you very much. I will never forget this favor for as long as I live, and surely, I will find a way to go back. She declared that to me with a strong determination. That would do. As long as she had a goal in life, she would be free from despair. I thought that it would be better for her to live straightforwardly towards her goal rather than having a grudge towards Yuki. I nodded back to Mai and sprouted a small smile. Thus, the angel army that invaded the surface world was exterminated completely and our total victory was settled. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you guys have not watched my earlier videos, then please watch them. The links are in the description. And please check out my other channel Top Anime Sensei for the light novel of Tensura. And don't forget to like, subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss the updates.